Hello and welcome to our quick demonstration of Immuta Agentic Data Access. So I'm going to run through a scenario where we have a chat with your data application, so a third-party agent running that is going to talk to Snowflake, but of course this could work other places beyond Snowflake. And we have these agents registered in Immuta. So they're first-class identities in Immuta. You can see we have this chat with your data agent. And this kind of mirrors whatever the actual agent is in your system that's doing the text to SQL conversion and running the queries. Agents can have attributes and groups, and that's how you assign them access to data. Or other things, like you might want to assign agents access to semantic layers or warehouses, just the things that they need to do their job on behalf of users without giving them access to any sensitive data. And conversely, if I go to our user screen, I'm going to go to human. That's my joke. This is the human that's going to be running a query through the agent. And human has an attribute team customer order fulfillment that also gives you access to some data. And what's going to happen is when you ask a question through the chat interface, the agent is going to say to Immuta, hey, Immuta, vend me a role in the data platform that represents use access so that I can only query what you is allowed to see. And this is managed through Immuta policies. So we have subscription and data policies, but for example, if we look at this policy here, this subscription policy gives you access to some tables. Because he's in the customer order fulfillment team, he gets access to any data tag customer. So this could be like sensitive customer data. When you ask a question, the agent will ask for this vended role, and when it runs the query, it will be able to see this customer data because you has access to it, but no more than that. It will not be able to extend beyond the scope of what you has access to or is defined in Immuta. So what is defined in Immuta is a key point here, because it doesn't necessarily mean that you actually has access to that in Snowflake. So for example, if I go to Snowflake and I say, show users like chat with data agent, we can see there's an agent registered in Snowflake. Well, it's a user of type service. But conversely, if we show users like you does not exist in Snowflake at all. And this is an important point. That means you're not creating, access no longer is the gatekeeper to data. It's actually policies the gatekeeper to data. You're defining the policies of what you can see, but in order for you to actually get access to that data, he must query it or ask the agent to query it for him. And then the agent gets that vended role. To show this in action, so we'll do a new chat with you. And this is in Claude, but it could be anywhere. ChatGPT, Glean, your own custom thing, any kind of third-party agent, because all we're really doing is changing the way that the application connects to, in our case, Snowflake, could be other data platforms, but it connects as the agent and asks for that vended role. So let's go ahead and run this query. So again, the agent is asking Immuta, hey, human is logged in and authenticated to Claude, and I want you to vend a role for him. And this is grabbing my tool, or the Immuta tool, in order to vend that role to the agent on behalf of you. So the agent is restricted to what you can see. So it's going to give us these results, and you can see the customer column is redacted from you. So this is important because in a second, it's going to tell me, hey, customer name is mask. Your current policy isn't permitting you to view it. If you need to unmask them, you can request an exception. I can say, yes, please request an exception. I need to see customer names. So I do that, and what's going to happen is this is going to call another tool to open up the Immuta request app in order for me to request access to customer names. So I'm going to go ahead and request access to this. And this is going to bring up a form. These forms are completely customizable. You can add data use agreements that the user can read. It asks me what the intent for seeing this information is. I'm doing a break glass fraud investigation. I can agree to data use agreement and submit this request. And then I actually have a rule in here that I set up ahead of this demo that said, hey, if someone requests access and their reason is break glass fraud investigation, they're automatically given access for 1 hour. So this allows the agent to request access for users and have that be automatically approved if it meets the criteria, right? So let's now go back to Claude, because we can say, hey, look, now I have access to this. Let me see the customer name in the clear. Okay, looks like my request has been approved. Please rerun that query. So we're going to do this. And of course, we need to allow our tool, the secure data query, to run. And the cool thing about this is that the role that was vended automatically updates with the customers now in the clear. So we didn't have to vend a new role. What actually happened there is the role that was already vended is updated with that new exception that allows me to see the customer names in the clear. Okay, and the last thing I want to show real quick is if we go back to Snowflake, I'm going to run a query in the query history table. So this shows what queries were run in Snowflake. Of course, there's similar things in all data platforms. So we can see the query that we just ran, and it was the agent that ran it, of course, because it connected as the agent, but it used our vended role. So we're showing the role name that was used. As you can see, this role name ends with 253. So if we come back to Immuta and go back to our agent, or chat with your data agent, we can see the roles that it's vended. And we have this one that ends in 253. And so we can see that this role was vended for UMan. So we know that this query in Snowflake was done for UMan via the agent. Now, had a UMan actually had an account in Snowflake and he logged in and ran his own queries, then that would show up as UMan. So you're able to distinguish between queries done by a human directly versus queries done by an agent for a human as well. So anyway, thanks for watching. This is available for customers to start using as of about a month ago. This demo is in April of 2016. So please reach out with any questions or interest. Thank you.